Well, hello everyone. The Ontario Gardener here, back with another episode of Masterplan Tycoon. So, as promised, off camera, between episodes, I set all this up. Which you remember, we didn't have any of this set up last time. It is a big mess. And the reason why it's a mess is because if you remember, we're pulling bricks, bread, beer, and clothing from the other location. And the reason why we're doing that is because other things, such as iron mines, for instance, they need sausage, moonshine, overalls, which is fine, but we got to also make that stuff. And let's find out, where are we making some of that right now? We have moonshine here, we got beer being made here, we have other things being made here. Here we're having moonshine being made here, but they require bread, beer, and clothing. And if you remember, that's what's coming in from here. But the problem is it's not enough. There's not enough to sustain this from the other location. You may say, well, you should just make more at the other location. And the answer is no, that's not the issue. The issue is how fast stuff can come in, because only 10 can come in and then it gets stuck. Now, again, you can put storage units to make it, beat 75. But the problem is it comes in so slow from the other location. Even though we have tons over there, it's not like super fast. So you end up having to set most of it up here within reason. Like I only have one, I think I have one grain farm to supplying, the grain for the bread and also the stuff for the beer, or wherever the other one is set up at. I'm trying to think where I even have that set up at, but it doesn't matter. We have our water, we have our fish. So now what we got to get into is the new stuff, which is coal, steel, and steel beams. So I already went through and I laid out, semi-laid it. See how here we're already missing something? I laid out the iron mines, the coal mines that we have here, which again, there's not a lot, and they're not very good in the sense of, like, you can't put anything over here unless you do something like this and then run another pillar down or something. And I've started using the pillars, as you can see, they're sprinkled around to try to maximize our usage out of these. And if you look, some of this stuff isn't backed up yet. Where are we at here? Like wool and clothing is still being used. I'm not really sure why. I guess because we're still producing bread. So certain things are still running a little bit. Like the fish and stuff, but it will all slow down eventually. That's not an issue at all. Like this one, I think isn't backed up yet. These are all full because when the output is red, that means it's full. If an input is red, that means it potentially is full, depending on what's being pulled from it or getting put into it. So here, clothing's still running because the iron mine is still running, right? And it's because of the sausages, etc., etc. So where we're at now is we have coal being put into our output, so we're good to go there. Our coal is pretty much, I think, built up. Our iron is built up, which is good for us. Now, this thing is, where do we have space for any of this? I actually use up here to put more things with wool and clothing, by the way, because it's used like crazy. So we have to put furnaces down, and we have to put steelworks down. So basically, 1 gives you 2 every 30 seconds, and you need 3 every 45 seconds. So if you have 2 of these, that's 90 seconds. It means you're gonna need you're basically gonna need 6 every 90 seconds. But here you're producing 2 every 30 seconds, right? So theoretically, it's like a 2 to 3 again. Or how it's 2 to 3 coming in, but if you do it just kind of 1 to 1, it's fine. Or do it the way I normally do it, which I don't even do it like that. I just place things. So again, furnaces are up and down, which are super annoying because they're like the mills, and they take up so much space. The question is, where do we put it? I think we have to put them, and this can be moved, by the way. I think we have to put it up here, which I think is going to be fine. We're going to put, I think we'll do 4. 4 actually fit quite nicely, actually. And then let's get off of that. And it wants us to, we're not here quite yet because of the coal. Now, it does want us to go to the research tab, which we are going to touch on very, very, very quickly. I just want to get this set up because we can start pumping materials out. And as you can see, what's going to happen is the steel is going to be pumped through here. This will fill up to 10, and then we're fine, of course. And then we have to go in to do the steel works. This I'm going to touch on very, very quickly, or in very, very, very shortly, and very soon. Steel works are gigantic buildings, and they got to be pulled in from a storage unit. The problem, we don't have a storage unit. Like this is really in the way. So what we almost have to do is we have to try to tuck a storage unit maybe up here, and then we have to put another one over here somewhere. Maybe we could use that one, I don't know. And then we have to do some steel works, and they just take up a lot of stinking space. So we're gonna have to probably just do 1, 2, 3 if possible. I don't know if this is gonna actually reach. If we do it like that, it might. This one may be interesting as far as using the pillars, but we'll see what happens when it comes in. So basically steel, steel, and steel to make the steel beams, of course. And then will this reach? It'll reach slightly. Yeah, this is really kind of a pain in the butt. Now, I'm trying to see if we push it up here, can we push this one back, this one back? This one's still okay, but we can't drag those back anywhere else. This is too tight of a thing because this one is here. If we push, we can't push them down, so we have to kind of go back the way it was, which is going to be, well, not let me move that when it's like that. Yeah, it will. This and then like that. And then I think what we have to do, this one is one that ends up getting kind of broken. Now the question is, can we fit a pillar in here where it'll actually work? The question is, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. It'll work for this one 100%. Will it work for this one? It does. But the thing is, though, is you can only have one thing at one time, but that's okay because the steel beams are quite slow when things aren't backed up. Right now things are backed up, so it's fine. So this is going to work perfectly fine. And we're actually sending steel beams out, which we're full already. So we're good to go with that. As you can see, we're already lacking overalls. So this is where things really kind of slow down. It's like, okay, where are we making overalls? We're making them here. Overalls are slow because of beer. Okay, well, where are we making beer? Well, we're getting beer in, right? But we're not getting enough in. And it has nothing to do with the other location. It's what's being produced here. So we got to figure out, where are we making beer at right now? We're making beer here. Okay, so what's the slowdown here? The issue is the grain. Okay, well, where are we producing grain at? Well, we're using grain for the mill, okay, which is fine. We're also producing grain down here. So do we have enough grain? No, we don't. So I think what we have to do is we have to move these closer together. And I think what we have to do is put in a bunch more grain farms. Grain farms are like the trickiest. I can maybe do that, kind of cheat a little bit. Are the biggest pain in the butt in a sense, because of they are quite. I find them quite slow actually. We can have them both doing. Actually, you probably could. This one here doesn't have to do planting. This one here doesn't have to do planting, and probably this one doesn't have to do planting. That might help the gathering go a little bit quicker, because that's our issue. So we have this up and running. Now we're stocked up here, but as soon as we get back to the master, we're going to be using the steel. That's the problem once we get into tier 3. So what we basically need to do now is it wants us to look at our research. And research is a new thing compared to the demo. Basically, what it does is you have construction research and you have upgrade research. If they're green, that means you can unlock them in where you are. Now, we don't have 20 grain, so we can't unlock this, but we can easily get 20 more grain. That's not a big deal. So let's talk about construction, which it wants us to talk about first. So basically, a charcoal kiln makes you or allows you to mine coal from a tree. So basically, it takes a tree, turns it into charcoal, which is not coal, but the same principle. It's less efficient, but it also doesn't require maintenance. So that's why it's less efficient, right? But that means if you don't have coal somewhere, you can easily make coal, which is definitely going to come in handy as we go later on. And what we need is 15 trees for that. We're going to click it. It's going to take, well, 3 real-time minutes, but since we're, I think, 3x speed, it's probably going to take less than 1 minute, probably about 30 seconds or something like that. So that's perfectly fine as well. Let's see. That's going to finish up, and then and then I'm going to go to the upgrades, because you can only research one at one time. So it says here, resources from the master locations are used for research. So because of where we are here, it doesn't really matter. So we don't have 30 steel beams. We have bread with this transfer rate. So this increases resource transfer rate by 10%. That's how quickly things go between one building to a next. Farm and plantation speed. We don't have grain. We're not actually stockpiling grain anywhere, are we? Well, we are, but we're using it, right? We are, but we're using it. That's the one issue. Until we really have tons more grain here, which I don't think we're going to have anytime soon, because right now grain is we're at 0 because we're just using so much. Eventually things will back up, and mainly that's going to be when this backs up with it's going to be tier 2. When this backs up with steel beams, then we'll be fine. But until then, nothing's going to back up. So it's quite slow. But anyway, you have farming and plantation speed. Increases the production speed of all farms and plantations by 10%. So this is a good one. This is a good one to use for sure. Because, sorry. So the reason why is because it plant faster. which is exactly what we need, and produce faster. Resource transfer rate is going. We could do this one right now because we have enough beer, we have enough bread, and then storage capacity. Remember, this is what I talked about before. To get things stocked up, you want to have enough storage capacity. It'll go basically just from 75 to 125, and that's good to form a buffer. We already have this upgraded. We have this upgraded. How many steel beams do we actually have right now? Let's look to see how many we have. We have 38 steel beams. So theoretically, we should be able to do this. Is it because we don't... Oh, I know why. It's because it only increases the storage capacity in the master, not everywhere. We don't have the 20 grain. This one is... Yeah, okay. So that's why this one is like this. Is because the capacity in the master. We're not in the master. We're in the steel mission. But the steel mission is completed. So we can go back to the master. And how are things doing here? Pretty good, I think. Can we do any of this resource now? We have that one done. We don't have 20 grain. What are we doing with all of our grain, by the way? We're basically putting it to everything. So the only issue with doing, as I said, putting everything into storage is that it's going to be pulled from everywhere. So right now we don't have enough resources to unlock this. We should, though. I don't know why we don't. The brick mission, or the steel mission, is actually here. So I'm going to pull all these things out of here because I think it's just because of it being the master, we don't have the resources for this, which doesn't make any sense because we should have steel beams. Yeah, they're just being transferred. Okay, so that's why. We have enough from the other location. We just have to research. Some things require researching, excuse me. If you're in the master area, like whatever it says here, your area, that's where the resources come from. So we're not quite we're at 16, so you have to let it kind of transfer over. Grain, we don't have 20 grain stockpiled yet because we're using it for everything. As you can see, we're using it. We have no meal either. So grain is one of those things that is really, really, really used. And I mean, we have a lot of grain farms here. They're not producing very well. They're producing a little bit. Let's see, are we waiting on maintenance problems? I don't think we have maintenance problems. No, it's not maintenance, it's just production problems. Because everything is just, it's slow, right? It is what it is, but it's slow. All right, how many steel beams? We have 24, because I do want to do I'd like to do this research, but we're not quite there. This can be done anywhere. This one has to be done here. Right now we're at 27. We just have to wait for it to come through. And again, the transfer rate of these things aren't that quick. Like you'd think it'd be boom, 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 but no, it doesn't work that way. And why, I don't know. Why it's not faster. I guess that's what the research is for. But we do have this now, so we're going to unlock the research because it's good to unlock the research. Now, the next thing we have to get into, well, is going towards. Look at all these farms that are growing. We're going to have the limestone mission, and then we have a bunch. Eventually we're going to get to the ports, and this is where things really, really, really get. And we also have copper mission, and I think we have other missions on these maps. But luckily, this I think is the end of the game once you eventually get to here. But there are so many things to unlock. Luckily, there's a lot of open space here, and we're not going to be needing a lot of quarries, which is really good because I think we need to up our grain production. We need to upgrade up a lot of our different productions right now. Question, do we have enough grain in here now? The answer is no. Do we have any grain that's stockpiled? We don't, because everything's being used, and especially now because we have our stockpiles are higher, everything's going to be like double time being used. Now, we are kind of getting low on fish, which is very, very interesting, isn't it? Is it time to put some more fisheries in? I don't know. We could probably put a few of them right in here. Let's see, 1, 2, I should be able to go right over top of that. 3. Put a few more fisheries in here because why not? It looks like we're getting a slightly low on it. You just got to click and look. You know, this is how fast it's going, like how much is being used. This is how fast it's being put back. So we're obviously using more than we're producing. Kind of. We're not really. It depends. It depends. If you have 10 buildings and they all want maintenance at the same time, you're going to get a big jump down. But if you have 1, 1, 1, 1, it's less of a jump, of course. And we can actually use this island, too, to build things. You're not limited to the other islands. Grain seems to still be the problem here. Now, I'm not sure if it's because they're so close together and they just can't build anywhere, which to me, that might be it. So I think what we have to do is eventually figure out an area to do like a massive grain farm. And I really almost want to do it right here. So let's just do that now because there's no reason not to. We can spread these out a little bit differently than we originally did. So if we put one here, I want to go back in here, and no, I want to do, this. So if we have them go like just touching, That seems... So we want to have at least... You need to have at least this amount of space between them to make the grain go in. So we can do something like that. We can just put a whole bunch in here. Because, again, these are just going to run kind of passively. The reason why you want to have at least 4 spaces or 5 spaces even in between is because of how the grain is done, right? And do something like that. Okay, I think that's good. So that's a lot, obviously. So we can put one of these. We actually put 2 here. Put 1 here, and we'll put the other one, say, down here. And remember, everything shares with each other, so this needs maintenance. But as soon as these are built, we have tons of maintenance. And if we do something like this, this is where pillars might come into play a little bit better. So we have how many? 5 on this one. And we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this one. So this should help us with our grain production. I mean, it really should help us with our grain production. Is it enough to do this? Probably not, because we're going to be using the grain as fast as, you see how we're using, it's not even registering on here because we're using it as fast as we're actually producing it. Now, the other question is, if we take this one here, every other one, and we produce. So we take this one and just do planting on this one. And we just do planting on this one. Every other one, we just do planting, which is going to be this one, this one, this one. I wish it would show up a bit better which one you click on. It doesn't do that. And then this one's just going to be planting. Because this should work. It should be helpful. How are we doing on grain? Like, we're still, like, there's not even a number, an icon here because we're just using so much of it. And having some plant, actually, you know what? It probably makes sense to have both of them just doing everything. And just see what happens, right? Because we're really slowing it down if we're having it like this. Maybe not. Maybe, actually, you know what? No. Hold on. This one, this one, this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one, we're going to turn. Actually, yeah, let's go back to the way I had it. Because it seems to be working out perfectly fine. We have enough grain coming in. That's not the issue at all. I mean, it's just slow. It takes 1 minute. We have plenty of maintenance. Yeah, I think this is going to work out very, very well for us like this. Now, if only you could push these this way, oh, it'd be so very good if you could do that, but you can't. All right, so the grain is going to do its grain thing. Are we stocking up at all? We are. Yes, we are. So what we need to do is, when this hits 20, I want to do that last research. We will get there. Yeah, this is working out very, very well, actually. I wish I could put more in here somehow. Again, you just can't. You can't put more in there because you can't feed this way. But this looks like it's going to be working. It's going to work out perfectly fine, and we're going to hit that 20 very, very soon. So we'll go back to the main location. Actually, boom, we have this and we have that. Boom, get that done because this will help us out a lot because it's basically going to be 10% faster for everything, and that's going to really, really help with grain production. So, okay. What we're at now is we have to start focusing or working towards what? Tier 3. And Tier 3 buildings go into making Tier 4 buildings. But you see, we need sausages, moonshine, and overalls. How are we doing with all that right now? Sausages, moonshine, overalls. So none of them are being made or used right now, which is a good thing. It's a very good thing. Right, we don't have any iron on this location because you can't pull iron from this, so that's a bit of an annoying thing. So what we're going to do with the farms are the same way because you get cow and you get milk out of them, and you can't turn one off. You can either have it like producing cows or farming cows or whatever, but you can't really turn it off. So what I'm actually going to do, I think, is put them over here somewhere because it looks like we have a decent amount of space. If we dump one of these, I can put it as close as I want, really. Put a whole bunch of cow farms in here, and we're just gonna let's just do them. Maybe I don't know how many we're gonna need, so maybe we'll just start up here, and we'll do. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As long as that looks semi equal. I don't know. It's hard to tell. There, here, and then maybe here. Just gonna touch, and just touch. Okay. And we'll just move this back up here. So is this going to be enough? Definitely not. But that's okay. We're going to have to pull everything out of here because why not? Why not? Because we're producing cow and producing milk. Again, this can be very much expanded. And actually, because of these produced so far, because they are producing, like they have a big radius or a decent sized radius on it, we could probably put more in here, really, right? We could probably put 2 more here. Probably be a good. I wish when you right click it wouldn't do that all the time, but it doesn't anyway. So okay, good. And I'll know if this isn't going to work, and we have to spread things out more. And all you got to really do is then just spread all of them out, because so far it looks like it's okay. We can't get away from that unless you build a storage unit there, which is kind of like, I understand, but you have to kind of have to just do this, and then you have to do that, and you kind of get rid of where all of these things are going to be at within reason. You can't get rid of everything. If you do it like that, you do end up knocking things away, which isn't the best thing. We can recycle this one. So we're producing a lot of things. Remember, you can't turn one off. It's either on or off. That's basically how it's going to work. But we have a decent amount of maintenance now. Remember, we are at 10% faster, which is why these are at 54 seconds and not 60 seconds. Right now, upgrades are done. Okay, so we're producing that. Now we've got to do steakhouses. I want to leave this whole area open for more milking cows, because I have a feeling, actually, you know what, no, because they can plant all in here. I do have a feeling we're going to need it as well. So what we can do is we want to start making steakhouses. Well, steakhouse. And a steakhouse gives you what? It gives you steak, and it gives you leather as well. So we could probably put that, I don't know how many we're going to need, but we can probably put them right here. I think would be a good spot. So we can just put, let's just do 2. Right, I gotta be able to pull these back in. Let's just do 6. I'm gonna have to move them out slightly because I need to get a whatchamacallit in there, a storage unit in there. But that's okay as well. I'm gonna dump one of those right about here, maybe. There we go. And we gotta dump another one. I want to right click to just have more come out, but it doesn't work that way. Cow, 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 cow. Cow, and this one might not reach. We want to tuck it up a little bit. Can we actually tuck it in here? Oh, no, we gotta tuck it right there. That works. Perfect. So we have steak and leather. Remember, these are producing 2 items, so it alternates somewhat the order that it does them. So you have to keep that in mind as well when you have buildings that are producing 2 things. I'm going to click on it a second to show you. You see it does leather, and then it does steak. Leather, then steak. It'll alternate like that. So right now we have tons of cows, and you're probably going to actually need more of these. Yes, they alternate, which is okay, because when one builds up, which we're going to be here, like when steak builds up, probably more so than leather. Actually, well, they'll build up at the same time. When leather builds up, then it'll just produce steak until that's full as well. So it kind of works out that way. All right, we're doing steak and we're doing leather, which is great. The next thing we have to work on is getting milk. So we have cow farm. Well, guess what? We don't need a cow farm. We have milk. We don't need to make milk. Here, though, we need steel and we need coal for a can factory. Now, how fast is this? This is 30 seconds to get 2 cans. So this goes pretty quickly. So we could probably stick it... We could probably stick it maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if 4 is going to be enough, but we can always add more another time. Keep right clicking to click off the screen. So we're going to hook up the cans. It doesn't really matter the order. And here we're going to need steel and we're going to need coal. Luckily, we're bringing that in. Now the thing is, remember, we can do charcoal coal. So if we should, and this is all coming from this other location. So if you go back to tier 2, it shows us where's our coal being taken from here. So it's going down kind of faster than it's being brought in. But remember, we can eventually make it. Oh no, what are we missing here? We're lacking clothing. Well, why are we lacking clothing? Our clothing is being here. What's the problem? We're lacking maintenance. How are we lacking maintenance of water? That's so crazy that we're lacking water. But you need water for everything, don't you? Remember, these are like the stuff in the beginning that you need for everything going forward. Let's just do something like this. That might be, maybe one more. That might be enough. And then we'll, yeah, if you right click, it does that. We'll put it, I'm not sure the closest I could put it. Not sure what that noise is, but it's okay. Probably the water noise. This, and there we go. So that should be enough water coming in now. Let's check our tier 0. Water coming in. Okay, we're right. Yeah, we're going. It is going up. Slowly but surely is going up, which means everything here should start being made. We need clothing, of course. Clothing, overalls. Everything needs clothing right now. And I think that's our hang up here. So what I want to do is I actually want to push this up. And this is what I said about the whole modular type design is we can really start expanding on this. So this is going to be under tier this. We have tons of sheep. Are we going to put 2 there? That would be ideal. Perfect. And then we can move this one actually down here a little bit closer. It's not going to interfere with this at all. Tons of potatoes. Actually, what I should do is move it there and move it here just to get rid of all of this. And we'll push this one right down to there. All right, we got more clothing coming in. This I could actually move down to probably. I don't know if that's going to stretch. It won't. So what we're going to do is just pull it down slightly. There we go. Okay, so now we're producing. We're still producing. Not crazy fast, but we are still producing wool. This I could probably... Oh, I can't push it back at all. I'm going to leave it there. That's okay. So this is okay. Wool, I don't think wool is the problem right now. Yeah, we have tons of, excuse me, we have tons of wool, but we are using more, but it's okay. We're making clothing again, we're making overalls. This eventually is going to start working again. We start making more clothing, because if you see here, we're using a lot, but that's okay. Remember, we can always freeze some of these buildings if you want to. Like, how much moonshine do we have? Are we using a lot of moonshine right now? I don't think, are we using any moonshine? Moonshine's going to be tier, where is moonshine at? Is that tier? We actually are using moonshine, so a lot of things are using moonshine like this. Again, it's more you have, the more you spend, but again, we can add on to this as we go. So right now we're producing steak and we're producing leather. We're doing tons of cow milk over here. Tons of grain now. Our grain should be perfect. Let's check our research. Nothing more to do. We're doing more water. We're doing the sugar cane. This is still lacking of clothing. We'll come back to that. We have the cans coming in. This is all full right now, I believe, right? Everything's full. So what we need now is we need to do the milk farm. And milk is going to be under tier 3. So, the milk farm needs cans and it needs, well, milk. So we have both of those, of course. So can we tuck that in somewhere? We can actually pull it right from here if we want to, which I think we do. I'm just going to do, I'm going to do, I can't make any more because we need steel beams, steel beams. Well, for now, we can actually just pull it like this because we're here. And then we can dump another storage unit right about here. And then I'm going to move this around. These are trees. But I basically want to get rid of the trees, so you basically just drag things on top of it, and then it'll get rid of what's underneath it. As long as if it's a growable or in a sense a renewable resource, you can do this with it. If it's not renewable, like the rock and the stone or the whatever, you can't put something on top of it. It'll just stick it back. So right now, steel beams are the problem. And is it the problem that they're coming through? No, I would guarantee you it's just the issue is the fact that, and here we need more overalls. So this is where you can kind of see where things get a bit backed up. We need more overalls because we need beer. Where are we making beer at? Let's look to see where we're making beer. Why is beer being so slow right now? Well, let's go find out where are we making beer at. Right now, we're making beer. The slowdown is grain, which is odd because we are producing tons of grain over here, but it's also slow. So I think what I want to do is I want to have all of them do gathering now as well, because if everything is stocked up with growing, the ones that are here are just sitting idle and they're literally doing nothing. So this will help because you see it only plant when it takes something out, and some of these don't actually have anything to plant. I don't think this one could plant anything, but nonetheless, now we should have our production being a bit higher. What I also want to do is just drag this over here to get rid of all this greenery, and then we can kind of put this, I think I had it like that or something, I don't remember. There we go. Good, because now it can actually it can actually farm itself all the way up into here as well, which is exactly what we wanted to do. There we go, perfect. So now we have more grain coming in. This is just telling your node's full, which is fine. Here we're lacking what? We're lacking overall as well. That's okay. We'll get it figured out eventually. And how are we doing with grain now? Grain's going to go back to tier 1. And grain, we're still at 0. Grain is still a problem. But right now, things will kind of slowly start to stock up. Slowly, as I said. Not quickly. All right, but you know what, guys? Next thing we gotta do is jump into doing, vests. We're not quite at vests yet, which we could set this up, honestly. But again, they need sausage, moonshine, overalls, and windows is the next thing to get sand mine. They need steak, milk, and vests. We're not actually making vests. I'm sure why we're not actually making vests right now. We should start making vests somewhere. I'm trying to think where I can stick a couple tanneries, because this is quite quick. What's the problem with this one here? I think I want to do both for all of these again, because it looks like we're kind of lacking. Like this one here, there's nothing for it to harvest. This one's just on planting. This one's just on planting. Yeah, because this needs to plant. That's another of the problems, I think. And then I think if we push this down, how far can we push this down? If we can push it all the way down to here, that would be good, I think, for this. Sausages are lacking beer, so we have a lot of things to kind of go back on. But let's set up a couple tanneries right now, just really, really quickly. 1, 2, 3 tanneries. And then I think what we'll do is, does this go 1 to 1? Not quite, but what I want to do is I want to just get 2 of these going, or maybe just 1, because I don't think we're going to be able to fit another one in there. I just want this to start working. That's the biggest thing for me, is I want this to start working. We're going to be needing overalls again. We don't have overalls, so I don't know how well it's going to work that way. And this might not actually be able to dip down into this. We have plenty of leather. Can that dip to that? Nah, can I do it down to... Actually, you know what I should do is just go into this, and we'll just delete this one. This should fit. Oh, so close. How about now? There we go. At least we can start producing vests, because when we get into doing windows, they need vests, they need milk, and they need steak. So lumber camp, we have planks. We don't have to do this. Window makers, again, we need steel beams, sand mine, and glass makers. So we'll hit that next episode, and then we're going to have to start going backwards and start making more of this type of stuff, because we are running out because of how much we're doing. But look at this. We're producing a lot of trees now. And the reason why the planks are going down so quickly is because of all the things we're building, basically. Because some of these higher level buildings, 8 planks, you know, these here take 8 planks. They take a lot of planks, and we're burning through them pretty quickly. But here we're stocked back up on planks, so eventually this is going to just stop working because we don't need it to work. And what it'll do is it'll just start replenishing itself like it's doing here by planting more areas. And there you go. So what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna end it here. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. I should do this, right, just to get rid of these little things that aren't actually potatoes. There. Yeah, I should have done that at the beginning. Thank you guys for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving me a like as well as a comment. Would be much appreciated. And if you're enjoying this series, I'm finding it super fun. It's getting very challenging. Maybe we're producing too much of something. Maybe we're producing not enough of something else. But you know what? We're going to keep working with this kind of, modular designs instead of like a linear design, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, hit that subscribe button. Tick the bell notification icon so you don't miss any future episodes. Also, in the description below, the Ontario Outdoors is my second YouTube channel. I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the month and 1,000 by the end of the year. If you'd be so kind to click the link, hit the subscribe. Much appreciated, and I'll catch you guys next time.